ولا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. صلى الله وسلم عليك يا رسول الله يا حبيب الله وعلى آلك الطاهرين. السلام على بضعتك فاطمة أم الأئمة. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the intercession of the Prophet and his progeny sallallahu alayhi wa alihi. Last night we mentioned the 4 domains that calls for the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we answered the question that there are differences between those whom hold faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and they believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who don't believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Both they do the same things. When they are sick, they seek medicine. When they want money, they search for a job. When they want to excel, they get a degree, and etc. And we talked about the scientific domain and the knowledge-based domain. In the scientific domain, we mentioned that current scientists today, chemists, physicists, they publicly call for the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and call others to believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And one of the scientists, he was a chemist, an American chemist, Dr. Abraham Morsi Kirsian. He wrote a book in a response to an atheist who said man can stand alone, and he wrote in response a book and called it Man Cannot Stand Alone. The atheist said man can stand alone, meaning humans do not need to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala or the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There is no need to believe in a creator. Dr. Abraham Morsi came and said, this is false. And from this stand, he was a very famous chemist. He said, and he owns a very scientific establishment in New York, and he said, man cannot stand alone, meaning that humans need to believe and to have the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this book was translated to Arabic, but they changed the title of the book. The title of the book, Man Doesn't Stand Alone, and the Arabic translation, the title, Al-Ilm Yad'u ila al-Iman. Science calls for faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or believing in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In this book, he brought many theories, and one of the theories, he said, that call for believing in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We mentioned it last night briefly, the mathematical theory. You know, in math, We said your brain doesn't have the freedom. When you see 1 plus 1, you automatically said it's equal 2. 2 plus 2 equal 4. You know, etc. You don't see 2 plus 2 and you said it's equal 5. Your brain doesn't give you the freedom and the space to negotiate in a mathematical equations. He said the mathematical theory is one of the theories that call for believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He said, for example, if you take 10 quarters and you put numbers on them from 1 to 10 and you put them in a box or something and you mix them together, the chance, if you would draw from the first time number 1, the coin that has the number 1, he said the chance will be 1 in 10 chances. So 1 to 10, you will have to do it 10 times. He said 1 in 10 times you might get the number 1 from the first time. And he said, well, now from 1, sequentially, back to back, 1, 2, he said, well, it's 1 in 100 times. And then 1, 2, 3, 1 in 1,000 times, etc. Till he said from 1 to 10, sequentially, back to back, 1, 2, 3, 4, till 10, he said 10 billion times. If you do that, that will take a long time. He said this mathematical theory calls for humans to believe in the existence of Allah, that this universe wasn't created in a coincidence and by itself, and nature made it, or these things. He said no. This is precise system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala put in this universe, and everything in its place, and all of this precise system that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created calls for humans to believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In terms of doing these mathematically, and the chances that you will get these numbers in a sequence, it takes you a long time. What about this universe? So this is the first domain. We talked about the scientific domains, that in science, many scientists nowadays, they publicly said that science call for the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we talked also about the second domain, the knowledge-based domain, and we talked about these instinct questions and innate from the nature of humans. We always ask, even children, they ask where we came from, why we are here, where will we go after we die, and stuff like that. These 3 questions that are emerged and embedded in every human's brain. We always ask these questions. And we said we cannot find answers to these questions unless we have a faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that tells us exactly how we came, where we came, why we are here, and where we'll go. And this domain introduced the idea that if you know the secrets of this life, why we are here, and what is the relationship between this life and the life before us, and this life and the life after us, you understand this short time that we are in this life, this journey. We have to do the maximum level of good deeds. And Al-Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, يا أيها الإنسان إنك كادح إلى ربك كدحا فملاقيه. You will work hard till in this short journey, in this life, the life between the life before and the life after. In this journey, you have to do your maximum level of good deeds, so you prepare for the day that you will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then the third domain is the humanistic or humanitarian domain, which is the domain that even atheists, they talk about this humanitarian domain. Humans are driven from two internal instincts. Every one of us is born having these innate instincts. The first one is the love and attraction to the ultimate beauty and the ultimate perfection in this life. Every one of us wants to reach this level of ultimate beautiness and ultimate perfection. You know, the pure beauty and the pure perfection. Every one of us. You know, sometimes you will reach certain level of beautiness. You know, the beauty in your inner or outer, the external appearance, this beautiness. You want it to be at the maximum level. Even though you reach certain level of the beautiness, you have the greediness. You want more. Every time, any one of us, this is an instinct. We were born like this. Anytime we reach a level or a certain level, we want more. The more we get, we want more. Every time. So these makes us think, even in the perfection side, when we reach a point, like for example, in our lives, in our jobs, in our, schools and studies, we reach, certain points of perfection. We want more, and etc. This greediness or this instinct, this innate nature of humans made the philosophers think that faith is the only thing that satisfied these needs, these instincts, these nature of humans, that we always want the highest and the ultimate level of beautiness, the ultimate level of perfection. They said, the philosophers said that faith is the only thing that satisfies these things, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the ultimate beauty and the ultimate perfection, the only existence that has this maximum level of beautiness and perfection. So this human nature always incline and lean toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if we feel it or not. Even atheists, they have this instinct because it's a human nature. They feel it or not. We feel it or not. We taste it or not. We always have this leaning toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala because we were born naturally having this greediness toward the ultimate perfection and ultimate beautiness. And the only creator or existent that has this ultimate beautiness and ultimate perfection is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's why in Al-Quran Al-Kareem, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned it, لِحُبِّ الْخَيْرِ لَشَدِيدٍ. Humans love the ultimate beautiness and ultimate perfection, and that ultimate beautiness and perfection is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we feel this. We always feel this. A man came to Al-Imam Al-Sadiq alayhi salam and asked him, "O the son of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi," he said, "I want you to tell me a place where I feel the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A moment that I feel the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala." And Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam said, "Okay, have you been in a ship inside the sea?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Have you experienced the ship being wrecked, broken, while you were in the sea?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Have you felt or reached this level that you felt that you were going to sink and drown, and the ability to swim will not rescue and take you from where you are to a place that you will, not be drowned or sink in the water? He said, yes. He said, at that moment, did you feel that your heart leaned towards something? Something that powerful, something that unknown, something that you think is the only thing that will help you and rescue from this moment? He said, yes, I felt. He said, that thing, that unknown power is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these internal instinct and human nature always call for having the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah mentioned it in the Quran al-Kareem, said, فِطْرَةَ اللَّهِ الَّتِي فَطَرَ النَّاسَ عَلَيْهَا. This internal instinct and human nature that always lean toward Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the ultimate perfection and beautiness, calls for believing in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is the third domain, the humanitarian domain, that humans are born with these instinct or innate nature. We like the highest or ultimate level of beautiness and perfection. Also, the other instinct is the immortal instinct or the life-lasting instinct. Humans do not want to die. They don't like the concept of dying. If you ask anybody about the concept of dying and leaving this world behind, they don't like it. They despise it. They don't even want to mention it. They want to live the lasting life. They want to live forever. There isn't anything in this world tells you that you will live a lasting life except having the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you in this short journey between the two worlds, the world before us and the life after us, the hereafter, if you do your maximum level of good deeds, you will have the lasting life in the hereafter. It's the only thing that tells you and satisfies this instinct and human nature is having the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells you, if you do your maximum efforts and good deeds in this life, you will have the life-lasting or long life in the hereafter in heaven and paradise. The fourth domain is the psychological domain, or some call it the spiritual domain, which all of us need some type of static psychological level and spiritual level. We want to satisfy the assurance within us or inside or internally. Humans today, they broke the record of time and place, even space, but they couldn't break the record of the barrier of feeling the loneliness. You are among others. You are among your kids, with your wife, with your parents, with your siblings, with your society, with others, friends and stuff, and you feel the loneliness. Scientists and philosophers, they said the only thing that satisfies this loneliness and this level of psychological needs and spiritual needs is having the faith in the Creator, is having the faith in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This power that listens to you 24/7, that takes all of your, pains away, that knows your secrets, that satisfies all of your wishes and hopes and needs, is having the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So these four domains, If you understand the answer to this question through these four domains, you understand the questions that why humans need to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the importance of having faith among humans in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through these four domains: the scientific domain, and the knowledge-based domain or cognitive intellect domain, and the humanitarian domain, and lastly the psychological or spiritual domain. Then you understand that there a must or a need to believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to have the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Also, one of the things that makes human have the faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is through the messengers and prophets and the imams, because they are the guide to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They guide you to believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to have the right faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all of these things calls for the internal needs of humans to have a faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. هذا وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.